C'est bon, arrête. C'est bon, arrête. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Naked. It's Phil and Matt, your hosts, the two Frenchy guys doing a podcast in English. And Matt, what is Naked?
Naked is a place to express your true self without bullshit.
Great. So you can hear us right now, but you can see us also in video. As you can see, Matt is chewing something, which I don't know what he's about, and I'm also eating at the same time because it's time where I am. So what are we going to discuss today? You said in another discussion that we had about being your true self and knowing yourself. So can you elaborate on that? What is it for you to be your true self?
Well, first, how are you, my friend, today?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I forgot to ask you that. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Like it's sunny in Barcelona. I'm in Barcelona right now. Where are you?
I'm in Mexico, in San Cristobal de las Casas. It's an amazing city. I think it's my favorite we've seen so far in Mexico. I'm feeling great. And that's because we just recorded the making of episode of our podcast, and we changed shirts so we can make yourself believe that we changed day and we're recording on another day, but that's totally fake. And we probably must remove those shirts. It will fit more with the concept. So yes, I'm amazing. I'm uplifted, and I cannot wait to talk about one of my favorite of all time topic, which is being yourself, being true, being authentic. What does it mean? How can you do that? Is it good to do that? Can it bring chaos in your life? And all that jazz. I am super thrilled to talk about that. And I think for a first real official episode, that's the best thing we can do, because if you just listen to one, I want you to listen to that one. So let's just go. Let's just go for what it is. What is being yourself? What do you think, Phil?
I think for me, being yourself is when you're capable to act and not reflect afterwards and feel that you have done something wrong, or questioning what you have done, or questioning what you're about to do. So it's stopping to ask yourself a question about who you are. This is, I think, and when you're in peace with yourself. I know it's a long answer, but it's when you're in peace with yourself. That's I guess I'm gonna change all my answer. Just keep that because it's coming. So being in peace with yourself, your true self. In everything
I love it.
You're in peace. That's what it is. That's my answer. That's my final answer.
That's really interesting, and that I think we should start right off by saying there's no right or wrong answer. There is it's a show about ideas. It's a show about brainstorming, making just generating new ideas, generating new truth, and being yourself is probably one of the super not controversial, but many people have different ideas of what it is. And I love, from what you said, I love the part of being in peace. I also think that when you are yourself, when you are living yourself, you really have that peaceful feeling, even if you bring chaos around you by being yourself, because sadly, that's probably gonna happen. Because if you go from not being aware of who you are and you start wanting to be yourself more, the structure that is around you already is reflecting the person you are at the moment. So if you're not yourself at the moment, what is around you, the structure, is not reflecting who you really are. So if you start tomorrow and say, all right, I'm going to change completely and just be myself and do things my way, have my own opinion, express myself, you're gonna break some eggs. Some people will not like that. And yes, it can bring chaos in your life. But at the same time, it's the only way to bring a long-lasting peace. You know, they always say that war and peace come together, that life is a duality and you cannot have peace without war. Where, well, I think if you go at war with your fears, that's the only way you can bring peace into your life, by being yourself. And you got to go through that. So you may bring chaos. So I would say that my definition of being yourself is not compromising on what you hear inside for anything. You can decide.
I just want to ask you a question about what you just said, because people that are reading a lot, we agree that it's not being an asshole, right? You know, not being a jerk. We agree on that, because no. I think there is a lot of popular people that are supposedly themselves and who are like big jerks. So just let's agree on that. Is it part of a deal or?
Yeah, that's a really good point. What I say is that if you go from not being yourself to being yourself more in your life, you're gonna break some eggs, and some people will think you're a jerk, and who cares? At this point, you don't really care. But some people are super jerks and are not aware of it, and some people are super jerks by being totally themselves, but they are super jerks to only a certain kind of people, because for other people they are amazing. So it's always relatively to who listen or look at you. And if you put yourself in a public position that a lot of people can see you and analyze you, you're definitely gonna have people that are not gonna fit with who you are. You probably will have more people that don't fit with who you are, or maybe not. Maybe it's the opposite. But I think it's normal. It's funny because before I never really understood the concept that you see sometimes about haters. About if you don't have any hater, you're not doing things the right way, or you're not being really yourself. You're trying to please everyone. And I never really understood that, but now I do. Now that I'm really being myself.
We'll have to quote Mark Zuckerberg. I'm sorry. I know you don't like.
Oh yeah, what is him who said that?
There is two quotes from him that relates to what you just said, which is one, but it's the first one, which is a bit related. Is that if you don't break things, it means you're not moving. That's the first thing.
Okay, yeah.
The second thing is that if you're not annoying people, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember exactly the word, but if you're not annoying people, it's because you're not pushing enough, and you're not, being disruptive enough. So that's the two things that he said.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
It could be a bit related to what you just said, and I know I'm quoting him because I know that it's really someone that you appreciate for all his work. So.
Yeah, well, what I really love about him is his authenticity. That he does things.
But you were yeah. Let's just go back to what you were saying, because I think you were saying about your true self, and you were saying that maybe you're gonna annoy people, and some people will, because you don't fit. I think this is a word that is really important, like about fitting. Like, what is the difference for you and around this concept when you say you're your true self or you're not your true self? How is the fitting different in society?
Well, since was really bugging when you said the question, so please say it back, and we may edit that at the end or may not. But I would like to hear your question back so I can answer it correctly.
Matt, since you discussed, like you said something like really interesting, and you use a verb, and I want to stick to it specifically. You talk about fitting, and you talk about fitting with certain people and fitting with some other people, that you're not fitting with some other people. And I just want you to say, like, what is the difference in fitting with society or with anyone when you're your true self and when you're not your true self?
Well, first, I gotta tell our people that we just had an internet problem and we cut the recording, and then we just starting back fresh. And I know Phil look at me with funny eyes, but I told you we're all about truth, and we're all gonna say what's going on behind the scene.
It's okay.
So I will answer your question. I will I will answer your question now, and how can I start that? Well, I think we have a longing to to fit or belong, to belong, and the less you are yourself, I'm not sure about this one, but it's more about you don't want to be excluded. So we try to fit, to not be excluded, because excluded means in your primal brain or reptilian brain, it means death. It means exclusion from the clan, being alone in the forest and eaten by the wolf. And this is a huge topic that we can talk about later about are we really different than 1,000 years ago? But if you go if you're being rejected, it's not good. So I think most of us pass on, like the parents pass on to their children, to make sure that they follow rules so that they are accepted and not rejected. And that sometime in some situation you got to put a mask, sometime in another situation you got to put another mask, and you cannot really, all these masks that you put are burying slowly your light, burying who you really are. And I think that's the majority of people. Now there's the minority of people that rebel against that, and that they really want to be themselves, and they well, they are rebels, so they really poke things around, and some people don't like that, because if most people want to fit and want you to fit in that box, and you are trying to get out that box or escape or poke into their convictions, you're really, like, you're gonna break some eggs. That's what I'm saying. If you start on the journey to really discover who you are, and not only discover it, but to be it, to be yourself, you transform to return to who you really are, because you're not becoming someone else. You're returning to who you know you are. You always know, you always have this voice telling you inside. So you're gonna fit in one particular structure when you are this person. And if you are coming back of that person and you change yourself, your structure gotta change. It will change. So in the process of transformation, things will come in, things will go out, people will come in, people will go out. You may even change job. Everything in your life must probably will change to fit with who you are now being. So that's what I believe about fitting. And what do you think about that film?
Mm, I'm gonna I'm gonna resume that with the best example, and it's a problem in our society, which is social media. What you see in
Yeah,
social media is that people want to fit in life that they don't have, right? People that are always traveling, people that have beautiful car, beautiful clothes, or whatever, and they want to be, but they don't see the behind the scene. So it's almost what you show, where who you are really, and maybe the person that is showing, all this life is someone that is, I don't know, a nuclear physicist, and he's really smart about philosophy and all that, but it's not what attracts society. So he's doing that to reach its means. But it's for me, it's where you start to fit to what you say, the sense of belonging. And I'm coming back to Maslow in that, the primary needs and all that. The last one is the sense of belonging, and it's the one that we all want now more than ever. And the feeling part, it's it's really hard to, I think we all want to be ourselves. We all want to say that we're true to ourselves. But at the same time, the fear of rejection is too hard on everyone. And this is where it's a bit different. But I wonder, like, and maybe it's a question for you because we're being vulnerable here. When did you start to notice that you didn't want to fit anymore?
That's funny. Um, my own personal story started really young. I always, that's really funny because the further I can go back, I always remember me imagining myself as different. And I think most people are like that. I always thought that I was the only one thinking I was so different. But I came to realize that most people think that in their life because we are. We are all unique like persons in the same machine of a body here. But we are all unique. So you must have that sense of being different if you're unique, that just goes with it. But when I was young, I was really looking at these superheroes and I was dreaming about being a superhero. And it's funny because in my dreams, I would never be able to use my power. I would like be Spider-Man jumping out of a building and then the web will not come out and I would just go flat on the ground. But I was still dressed in Spider-Man, which when I analyze it today, it's exactly what it was. I wanted to be myself. I wanted to be that, but in some way I was not able to reach it. I was not able to be it. Um, so I always I always add that feeling of not fitting. Um, I was longing to belong, but inside I always knew I was special or different, or I don't know, just a sense of being unique. And I think, like I told you when we were recording the first episode with bad sound, that I think it's around 25 years old that I really had a moment of I'm super tired of trying to fit into something to be someone that I'm not. And I was pissed at myself to not find the answers, to not find the solution. And I really started to go on that journey. And I was really ready to break things. I was really ready to do whatever I could to be really in action to to discover myself, and after discovering it, to be it. I dove into that personal development world, and I mean we're 8 years now in front of that moment, and I'm only starting a podcast now. So being yourself is a journey. It's a and still today I can see when I'm not really being myself, but I can also see when I'm being myself. And when I'm doing that at this very moment, I feel myself. I'm saying things I love to discuss. I love to say truth that I believe are true, and I love to laugh in a funny way. I love to speak loud when I'm passionate about something. That's who I am, and it's kind of like I stopped. I stopped um, refusing part of myself. That the acceptation is the key to being yourself. Is to look at everything that you see about you and to accept it. And the search, when you really think about it, the search to be yourself comes from the non-acceptance of what you see, what you feel you are. And that's wrong, because you will always be in a searching mode. So I like to tell people, Don't search to be yourself. Be yourself, and you will find. Listen to that voice, accept your weaknesses, accept everything about you, be naked to yourself, and then that's how you will learn. That's the same thing that when you were in teenage years, and everyone has heard that, like you were certain, like that guy or that girl that doesn't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and he talks with his friend, and he's like, oh, I've been searching and searching, and I don't find. And someone will say to you, well, you got to stop searching and you will find.
You have a
Well,
famous one.
that the little teenage advice
I
is
still
so
believe this
true.
one is bullshit, but that's okay.
Well, for me, it's so true. When you stop searching, you find. Why? Because when you search, you are implicitly vibrating that you don't find. What you are vibrating is, I don't find, I don't find, I don't find, I don't find, because I'm searching. So you will keep on searching. But if you stop searching and you just at ease with who you are and you just yourself, well, if you're supposed to have a nice person coming into your life, it will come. And for me, we may disagree on that, but for me, that's a really big truth.
No, part of me like agree with what you say, like that. You know, when you say like you're who you are and you have to accept everything. Because when you were saying that, I was thinking about my past and all that, and that there is some part of me that was rebelling against that, and the late years I've been accepting everything around me, but at the same time, to discover yourself, you need to take an adventure, and you need to throw yourself in the wild and learn new experiences. You know, like the famous discourse of the famous talk of Steve Jobs at Stanford, where he says, you know, if you haven't found your passion, you know, continue searching until you find it. You know, whatever it is, continue to search it. Because, you know, when we come back to the feeling, I think most of the people are raised and you're influenced by your family and by the people around you to fit society, to fit a certain mold. And it's really hard for people to understand that and to be like, okay, I'm going to break that mold because I don't want that mold. Okay, I don't want that. I want to be free to be whatever I want, whatever that means. And that is done by searching in a certain way. You can't, and this is where there's part of me that is, I'm split. Like, I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence between agreeing and disagreeing, you know? I don't know. What do you think about what Steve Jobs said? Like, what do you think about this thing around passion and exploring and all that, compared to the searching that you were talking about?
I think the really important thing about passion, when you say like find your passion, and when you hear that everywhere, like do your passion, I think it's not enough explained. I really believe that why a passion is important is because a passion is an extension of your true self. It's in accordance to who you really are. So if you find your passion, what you really find is yourself. That's who you're meant to be. That's who inside of you, what makes you be joyous, what brings you joy, and everything that you like in life will be in your passion, because that's an extension of you. That's the point that is not being explained enough, in my opinion. It's always just find your passion, find your passion, find your passion. But why? Because it's a piece of the puzzle of yourself. It's an extension of you. So I really like that that speech from Steve Jobs about, because what you're really saying is you got to be yourself, and please don't ever stop looking until you find. And I agree with what you say, that you got to search. It's like the starting point. You got to put yourself, but for me, I see it better in a quest. You start a quest, and you probably already heard about that, about the hero's journey. And I really love that concept. We could really make an episode on the hero's journey.
You know, I have a quote on
because,
that. So.
And I think oh yeah. Well,
I
keep it for
really
the end, and that will
totally,
be our goal.
totally. On top of it, it's geek, so it's perfect.
And well, I haven't heard that because we have a little internet issue. That goes with the online situation that we're living right now. But yeah, um, I think for me the concept or the real life thing that really relate to the hero's journey for me is the book The Alchemist. And what is really funny and ironic, or is it how we pronounce that? Is that he will search for all the book to find out at the end that he didn't need to search. He was right on, like, well, I won't punch for anyone that read him, but the story is a quest to come back to yourself. So yes, you're right. The search is important because the search make you start. It making you be in action, and being in action is the only way you can transform. Is the only way you can find yourself, is to move forward, be in action, and searching. The desire of searching and brings you into that action mode, which ultimately, if you keep on going, will help you find things along the way. Is my point was more, each time I would find something really important along my journey was when I was stopping the search. It's like I would say, fuck it, I stop that. And then boom, something will happen. And then, wow, okay, that's more of me. Let's just start again. And at that moment where I just want to throw everything and throw the towel, then boom, something happened. So both are really important. That's nice that you brought that up.
And what you said, like it, because we are talking like, and it's funny because it's always like our discussion is going like that. I'm thinking about something else, and I'm thinking about another quote, but as a link with that. I think I can relate to this one. So for people that don't know me, I'm a bit of a geek, so I watch on animes and all that. And I know that people believe it's just cartoons and there is nothing there, but animes are really something in Japan as much as the movie industry, for example, in our side of the world. And the funny part about that is that they have like really great quotes. And the quote that I will say at the end, it's also from an anime, but this one is from a volleyball anime. And he says something that, for me, just this sentence says everything. It says, uh, instinct is something you polish, and talent, it's something that you can make bloom.
Ooh. Let,
When you
let, let
look at
me
it,
uh, let me let
go
me
for it.
just re-say that because I had a little trouble hearing it. I want to make sure that people heard it well. So instinct is something that you polish, and talent is something that blooms.
Yeah,
Is it right?
that you make
What
blooms.
you
Yeah,
said?
yeah,
That you make bloom. Okay.
yeah. Maybe the last one is I mean it's
Yeah.
something in those words. I don't have the exact words. And when you're talking about true self and the way you react and being yourself, I think it's really when you talk about the primal need that you have and who we are as a human, it's all about instinct. And I believe that when you know yourself is that you believe more in what you feel and your instincts and what they're telling you. So when you're in a situation, is that these instincts are telling you something. Maybe they're saying fear or flee or fight or whatever. It's survival instinct. It's always survival instinct. And so this is why this quote is amazing, because when we talk about passion, it's about talent. Something that you can search for it. You can also make the talent appear of other people, but instinct, it's something that you polish. It's not something that you discover. It's something that is inside you. So it comes back to what I believe. I don't know. What do you think about that quote?
Yeah. I think it's totally true. In my opinion, that's exactly what it is. The instinct. I often speak about the language of the heart, which is the same thing as the language of your instinct, but you always have that. ask anyone from their youngest age that they can remember, there's always something, a voice that tells you. And what is really funny with that is exactly what you said. You polish that. In fact, what you polish is not your instinct. Your instinct is perfect. What you polish is your hearing, is your understanding, is your acceptance of that instinct. The more, I do believe that the more you follow your instinct, even if sometimes it can lead you to places that you may believe you took the wrong choice, but it's part of a bigger picture and you have to go through that. And the more you follow your instinct, the more confidence you build in yourself, because you assume that you have the answer, that you can manage to deal with any situation. So, and the more your instinct speak loud, and in fact is probably not speaking louder, it's just that you give him more attention, and then it gives you more hints, and the more you listen to it, the more you polish in a sense, and the best you can be yourself because it's part of you. That instinct for some reason knows you, and it's always trying to work to tell you the best thing that's for you. It's just that sometimes your brain doesn't accept that because it's trying to protect the mask and try to protect the identity that you've built over the years, which is not really fully you. It's part of you. Yes, you cannot, this is another debate, but everything that you are is you, even your identity. But there's a more purer you, the one that has no layers of mask, of filters and whatever. There's an essence of you, and it's coming back to that essence by accepting everything that you are, your identity, your weakness, whatever, and coming back to just nurture that essence. Let's say it's a ball of energy. Well, instead of trying to fight against all the barriers that are removing you for being that, you just tune to that energy and you make it grow. You say, yes, that's what I want to be. That's who I am. I accept that. I give love to that. And that ball of energy grows and grows. And you can see more of you. You can see the light in you. You can hear it more. You can be more. And the barrier will fall from inside and not from outside. So yeah, I'm going away a bit on that, but that's that's exactly how I would say.
That's really good. By the way, for people that want to laugh, this quote is coming from a volleyball anime. So it's not, don't imagine that it's like an anime about life or anything. It's just about volleyball. So that tells you approximately how deep it can be. And so if you want to be more practical, you know, where do you start? Okay, you want to, let's imagine that people are listening and you know, they're saying, okay, I want to be truer to myself. I want to be more in sync with who I am, you know. Where do you start? I know it's a hard question, but you know.
Oh, no, it's not hard. It's not hard. For me, that is one of the easiest questions to answer. Because that's who I am. That's who I am. If I'm really myself, I'm gonna tell you, you start by stopping to look for outside answers.
Ooh, I will say something else.
That's so cheesy, eh? But
yeah,
that's the truth.
Because it's like
truth.
You know, it's exactly the same thing you said earlier. You'll find a partner if you stop searching for him or for her.
Well, let me
you know,
let
that
me be
you're
a
putting
bit
a
more
society
specific.
built on.
Let me be a bit more specific. If you want to find who you are, ask yourself who you are. So don't ask me how to tell you how to be yourself. Ask yourself the question. So that is more specific. It's not just a cheesy quote. It's really the same question you want to ask me. ask yourself. Close your eyes, ask yourself that question, and listen to that first answer you hear. And tune in your instinct, tune in your heart. And what you do after is that you act on what you hear. It doesn't matter if, like, it may be messy at first. If you never did that, it may be messy, it may break things, but the reward for you in your life will always gonna be bigger than whatever can happen. Because just face it, you want to be yourself because being yourself is what makes you happy. So you want to be happy. And even if you want to help people, you cannot help people before you being really happy. So a lot of people do, but I tell you, my truth is that you should find your happiness and yourself before trying to tell people. And that pot of happiness text that I wrote is all about that. It's all about feeling your own pot of happiness inside of you, and what's overflowing, you give it. And that's the sustainable way of being happy and having a really truthful impact on people. So yes, if you want to start, the starting point is listen. And the second step is act. Listen and act. Ask a question, listen to the answer, act on the answer. And stop your brain from, even if that answer makes you generate fears about acting on that answer, well, your role is you gotta fight for you. Do you really want to be yourself? Because it's not a walk in the park, a peaceful journey. You will have to break things, maybe not, but you have to be prepared for whatever. So ask a question, listen to the answer, and act on it. And if between the listening and the act there's a fear, well, you gotta face it and go straight. You gotta go straight into your fear, and it will disappear. There's this. That's funny. I know the saying in French, but I'm not sure I know it in English, and I'm sure everyone has already heard that. It's what you face fade, what you avoid. Oh, I totally missed that one, but it's about fear. And if you face it, it's gonna go away. If you avoid it, it's gonna come after you, and it's gonna always be there. So if there's a fear, your job is to face it, and nobody else can do it for you. That's the thing. Most people are waiting for a savior in their life. There's nobody that's gonna save you but you. And you don't even want to save yourself. You want to guide yourself. Guide yourself by listening to your instinct. And the hardship is the moment of fear. You gotta face that fear, pierce through it, and act even if your rational tells you not to. Because if your heart tells you to do it, then you gotta say, shut up to your brain and just act on it. So that will be my practical answer to that question. And I would like to know what you think about that, Phil.
About your full answer, or the question? Because I had a more cheesy answer at the beginning, because the fact that people are already asking themselves the question is that they're already starting to act on it, which is good. You see, the fact that they're asking themselves the question, where do I start? But you're right, like facing it. I think, people have to understand that when they're doing that, they're going to cut people from their life, for example, because people that have a toxic impact on their life, they're going to cut maybe their job. They're going to, they have to understand that it's not a walk in the park, as you said. I totally agree with you that they have to face it. And they have to understand that it's more nuanced than it is like just light, or, my quote is on light and darkness. I will keep that for the end. But a more practical tool for me that I used, and it's two things. It's all started by, I think where it comes back in your answer is curiosity. You need to be curious about that thing. Like you're curious about anything. If you're curious about art, or you start to get interested into it. You read about it. you read about other people's stories. You read about, books that are about meditation and about how to find your true self, that are also some books that are more practical. I think a good exercise is the one from, I think it's Sarah Knight in her book. I think it's a book that says like stop giving a fuck or something like that. And she has this exercise that is just like, what do you like, what you don't like. It's really simple. It's just you take a piece of paper and you talk about the subject. So for example, you are at your work, what you like, what you don't like. For example, about managing people, about your managers. And for example, it's something that I did in my work, and suddenly I start to have my own type of leadership that doesn't fit, every book and all that, but it's my true self in leadership. And it's the same thing in life. It's like, what do you like in friendship? What do you don't like in friendship? What do you like in a partner? What you don't like in a partner? What do you like in life? What you don't like in life? And after doing that exercise, it doesn't take long. It doesn't have to be like, do that with wine, whiskey, whatever you like. If you don't like alcohol, do that with a coffee or a tea. That's perfect. And then try to notice, for example, in the days, stuff that you have done that is in your don't like column and stuff that you have done that is in your like column. And it's as easy as trying to eliminate as much as possible the things that you do that are in your don't like column. And for me, that's really the most practical exercise that I know that you can do. I don't know. Have you tried that exercise or?
Well, I'm laughing for two things, because first is how true what you said is, and second, because you said in an internet problem.
It's okay. Since it's recording 2 tracks, I have what I said. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I will put the 2 tracks together.
No. Yeah, and I want to say it because that's the naked way of thinking, and we are doing exactly what we think is right. And I think your answer is amazing, and I think that's why I love to talk with you, because I am really sometimes more on the openly creative, out the box philosophy way about the concept, and a lot of time you bring me more practical around a concept. And what you said is so right, in my opinion. Exactly what you need to do. Stop doing things you don't like, do more of the thing you like. That's it. What I would like, or what I would love people to understand more and more, is that for some reason, I think life itself likes humor. It's like a humorist. And the truth in life, in my experience, all the most powerful truth that I have found are in simple things. All truth are simple, and our brain is designed to find those complicated answers, while if you just look into the simple thing, but you really look, you will really find deep answers that you are looking for, but you are looking at it with your complicated brain that's trying to find a rational answer to it. And if I just say how to be yourself, well, be yourself, your brain computes that and is like, where's the logic? And there's none. It's just be yourself. And it's the same thing. Make a list of things you like and don't like, and the things you like are more you, and the things you don't like are less you. Well, if you want to be more you, stop doing things you don't like and do more of the things you like, and that's it. Start there. That's a really good practical starting point. I love it.
Yeah, and keeping a log of that. Keeping a log, like not every day necessarily, you don't have to do it every day, but when something really annoys you, you have been to this dinner, you have been to this cocktail, whatever, you have been with friends, and there is some stuff that annoyed you and you didn't say anything, because you're with friends, and there is some acceptance and rules that brought by society, whatever. If you can reflect about it all night and say, okay, why it was annoying you. If it was annoying you, it's because your instinct is telling you something. So what you were saying earlier, come back to what you were saying, like listen to it, learn to listen to it, why it was annoying you. Is it because it's not your values? Is it because you find this person, you didn't like what they said? Whatever. Only you have the answer on that.
And and in fact, I think that's not even the most important lesson. The most important lesson is that by doing either one of these things, writing that list or asking yourself the question inside of you, the most important thing is that you are being in action. You are trying and being in action and asking for answers. And that's how it works. That's a journey. So you got to walk the path if you want to arrive somewhere. So do anything that you think is good for you, and you're gonna it's baby steps. You will go on the path, you will advance, and that's the real thing. That's the only real thing you got to do. The answers will come for you. Just be in action. And that said, I was thinking when you were talking that we should have a funny buzzer, like abused or like something like that after 45 minutes, telling us the time, and then
Yeah.
and then we will just, because we can talk for hours,
for hours
on
about
end.
that. So let's just finish by the quote I was thinking. Okay, you talked about the hero journey, and it makes me remember this. I watched that when I was 12, right? And I didn't understand the guy at the end. He was saying like really something powerful. Basically, it's a story. As any story, it's the hero. Starting small, doesn't know how to fight and everything. He fights dragon and save the world at the end. And there is this narration at the end, that is said by someone, and he says, once a day there was a hero, and he wanted to destroy darkness. But the more he walks toward darkness and try to bring light, the more he noticed that the two have to live together. Once he understood that light and darkness has to live together, this is where he started to become a hero. So you can look for it. It's record of Lodoss War. They say that at the end. It's a paragraph about it. I think it's in one of our discussions that I understood that a few years ago that we were discussing. It made me remember that it's in your brain. Like you keep that in your brain. It makes me remember that quote. That it's about once you understand that there is light and darkness all the time. This is where you start really to be in your hero journey.
Wow.
So I'm gonna finish on that,
that's a perfect ending.
That's our second episode on that. Again, if you liked it, a comment, whatever you're listening to, like Spotify, Apple, like a review, or if you want to share it with a friend, that will be awesome. If you put some comments, we'll try to integrate it in our next podcast. We don't know yet, but again, thanks a lot, and Matt, for the word of the end.
Yes, I would just add to that that yes, it's really important to us that you feel free to contact us, to be true in your answers, to bring your experience about the topic we're discussing about, because that's all about it, being naked, and we are a platform, a place, a safe space to be naked, and we really love to hear from you. And I will I think, oh yes, we will try to link, or at least give some more precise description about the things that we talk about, or if we refer to some author and then some books, we're gonna link that for you. And if we forget one, don't hesitate to ask for that reference. We'll be really happy to share that with you. And I will leave you on that, and welcome you to the next episode, which I hope you will come and join us. And I'm gonna leaving you with my favorite saying of all time is, be yourself and have fun.